Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
Florida Governor Crist scrubs campaign website of pro-life information. I'm Matt Barber, Director of Cultural Affairs with Liberty Counsel and Associate Dean with Liberty University School of Law. In for Matt Staver today, and joining me in studio is Sean Akers, Professor of Law with the Law School and Policy Analyst with Liberty Counsel. Sean, Governor Charlie Crist in the state of Florida is in the fight of his life for his political career. He is currently the sitting governor. He is running for the United States Senate, and Marco Rubio is running against him and leading him in the polls. He was so far ahead, in fact, that Governor Crist, a lifelong Republican, has left the Republican Party, is running as an independent, and he is moving away from his formerly alleged conservative principles and moving toward the center at a very rapid rate. And one of the major issues in that current election is a piece of legislation that the Florida legislature passed, HB 1143, which would require that mothers be offered the opportunity to view an ultrasound of their infant before an abortion is performed, and offer that the mothers would be permitted to refuse if they wanted to refuse. And this is according to LifeSiteNews.com, a terrific website. And there is a question as to whether or not Charlie Crist is going to sign this piece of legislation. He is purported to be a pro-life. There's really no reason he would not sign this except for some political calculation.
You know, Matt, this is one of those situations where we see a guy that has used the pro-life moniker when it suited his purposes, but now he's changing to a more national attention race, and all of a sudden he's running from his pro-life stance. I mean, this really is a good glimpse into the eye of politics. He's claimed to be pro-life, and now he said about that very bill that you just read. I mean, look, we're talking about showing mothers a picture of the baby in their womb, and he says, I can't think of anything I like about this legislation.
Which is just boggles the mind because, isn't medical doctors have an obligation to provide informed consent, to obtain informed consent from a patient before that patient goes through some medical procedure. In this case, an abortion certainly is a very invasive medical surgery, killing the unborn child, oftentimes harming the mother. The informed consent says that they need to know all the information readily available. There is no reason that a person should not be shown an ultrasound so that they have a full understanding of what they are about to do. The only possible reason would be political, not medical. So groups like NOW, the National Organization of Women, NARAL, all of these radical pro-abortion groups, Planned Parenthood, the multi-billion-dollar abortion industry, don't want women knowing the truth about what they're about to do. Governor Crist has been vacillating back and forth, according to LifeSite News, for over a month as to whether or not he will sign it. Now he has, in fact, gone so far as to scrub his campaign website of all pro-life information, which does not, in my opinion, bode well for this piece of very important legislation. It looks like he may very well veto it.
Matt, this is one of those things where we can see with the kind of clarity that you're very rarely given into the political mind that the fact that this is a life is not even crossing a politician's mind here. All that's crossing his mind, apparently, and I'm not going to speak for what's in his head, but by all judgments here, is what the polls show and the new audience that he's speaking to. The fact is that a picture's worth 1,000 words, and the words speak more clearly. When you show a mother a picture of the baby in her womb, it tells what all the arguments on both sides of this political question can't get to. It's very clearly a little baby. And for Crist to flip on it, now he will have flipped and flopped twice,
Well, in fact, that's exactly what Republican Mark Rubio, who is, again, competing for the same Senate seat, he's accused Charlie Crist of, quote, flip-flopping again, moving away. He's clearly, I think, Crist sees that he's lost the conservative vote. So he's running as an independent, and he's trying to glean as many so-called moderates and liberals as he can, trying to endear himself to the moderate and liberal pro-abortion factions. So he's having to run, unfortunately.
Yeah,
from his
so where's the
record.
integrity platform here, Matt? Where in the world are we looking at somebody that's going to stand up and say, whether you elect me or not, here's what I believe. Elect me because what I believe is right. You don't see that right now. What you see is somebody putting their polling finger in the wind, finding out which way they think it's blowing for the next election.
Well, this bill, HB 1143, would also fortify the prohibition against federal funding being used for abortion outside of where the life of the mother is at stake. And so, again, Planned Parenthood, the ACLU, all of these left-wing radical pro-abortion groups have been fighting this piece of legislation fervently. Now, we need to